Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Opposite the Monitor, and today we're going to get into Spider-Man 2 releasing some new story trailer with some new story elements, man, and we're going to get into a couple more topics as well. But man, I just want to say first and foremost, man, this trailer looks amazing. I was already excited for Marvel Spider-Man 2, man. There's a lot of big things coming out of Insomniac Games in general. But yeah, no, like this trailer was amazing. We got to see a full-fledged Venom, as well as we got introduced to we actually get to see Harry Osborn as well. And so it just looks amazing, man. I'm excited for it. There's a little bit of like a little bit more information that's kind of like going into this as well. But I from what I could tell with this, and I'm kind of going through the trailer right now as itself, not necessarily like a full breakdown, but it's just nice to kind of see Peter Parker and Harry, childhood friends, that same kind of backstory that we always knew. But the one of the crazy things about this though is that the way in which the timeline exists now. Like typically, this particular timeline or this particular story arc with Harry typically happens in an earlier stage in Peter Parker's life, like high school and stuff like that. And, from the first game, Harry wasn't necessarily in it as much. He was more so in like the side quest typically. He kind of, talk about him being sick and him being terminal and things like that. And then in this trailer you get more information about how he's got a second chance and stuff like that. You also get to see Harry's father and things like that. But one of the interesting things though, there's like a two interesting points that I kind of want to point out here as well. And it's just this point right here, as I love the fact that with these timelines coexist now with, Miles and Peter and Harry and stuff, because this is the first time you get to see Harry meet Miles Morales. And this is actually pretty dope too as well, because I've always, I wanted to kind of see that dynamic play out between Harry and Miles and stuff. And it seems like, Miles may be a little bit hesitant at first. At first he may be getting ready to, be like, hey, this is, Harry's like, not Harry, this is Peter Parker's, like best friend and stuff like that, and everybody's congregating and coming together and stuff. But there's still some kind of hesitation that Miles has with Peter Parker in his new symbiote suit, as well as, Harry Osborn and stuff like that. And it kind of plays like a really, really good dynamic. We do know that Insomniac Games did say that, Eddie Brock will not be Venom in this universe, in this iteration, which is, a change, because, it's typically who Venom is. Venom is Eddie Brock, essentially. But I do like the fact that they're kind of going like with the Sam Raimi type, universe, as well as mixing in their own kind of twist with it as well. Hopefully we can get that Tobey Maguire, dance, that street dance scene in this game. That's one thing I'll be looking for when I play when Spider-Man 2 fully releases. But this was just one of the points that I wanted to bring up too, with the fact of the dynamic between Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and Harry Osborn, them meeting for the first time, and just kind of Miles kind of analyzing the entire situation, the entire interaction between Harry and stuff like that. But one of the other points that I kind of wanted to hit on as well, we kind of get some nice set pieces. There's also the return of Mr. Negative is his name as well, from the villain from the first game. He's in here as well. These cinematics though look really great, especially compared to the gameplay that a lot of people were criticizing the gameplay showing with the cinematic cutscenes and that, and it'd be kind of like low res and everything like that. But I kind of always feel like it's just to showcase the gameplay mechanics, the just the overarching gameplay itself. Graphics is something that can be touched up within a month of release. It doesn't necessarily need to be a priority, really. There's a lot of games that have great graphics and play terribly, so I got full confidence in Insomniac. Insomniac's just one of those companies that have not let me down per se with all of the games that I've been able to purchase and play from them. So I'm confident that, you know, Spider-Man's going to, you know, perform nicely, be optimized, as well as, you know, look great. But one of the other points that, you know, I wanted to hit on with this as well, because a lot of people have been, you know, analyzing this and breaking it down and having theories and stuff like that. But this story trailer does kind of almost like kind of confirm who Venom actually is outside of Peter Parker. You know, and one of the things that you know, that's kind of being, like, I guess, shown in just the gameplay trailer as well as the story trailer is, you know, the breakdown of the divulge of Peter Parker and him being the, you know, him wearing the symbiote suit and things like that, and how Miles is kind of like, you know, worried about Peter Parker and things like that, and, you know, trying to become the best Spider-Man he can possibly be, looking up to Peter Parker and stuff like that. And it just seems that, you know, they're gonna, you know, Peter Parker's gonna go down that dark path. So I mean, it is pretty interesting. But the second thing that the second and last thing I wanted to kind of touch base with this, though, I want to see if I can actually find it, though. But there's one part where Harry is speaking with his father, and if I'm not mistaken, this looks very much so like the symbiote in the background. And this for me almost kind of confirms that Harry is going to be Venom. You know, just being able to you know, see Green Goblin himself is also pretty dope. But yeah, this kind of also confirms that that, you know, it seems that they were able to get their hands on the symbiote. I don't know how. You know, I don't know if this is where, I don't know if Harry Osborn or you know, his father was you know, initially interacting with the symbiote before Peter Parker got his hands on it. The timeline's not too clear on that, but to me that looks like the symbiote in the background, and that looks like you know, Venom symbiote as well. So I truly think that we will have a Harry Osborn Venom, not a Harry Osborn you know, Green Goblin Jr. type of scenario. But yeah, that's just one of the two things I want to point out, man. This, you know, the trailer was amazing. The trailer was great. I'm excited for this, man. I'm very excited to see what, you know, Harry Osborn ends up being, man. I hope he gets some Green Goblin in this too. You know, I think that'll also be dope as well. Maybe the symbiote, you know, is what's going to, like, save Harry from his terminal illness as well. Or just, you know, he mentions having a second chance. Like I said, I don't know what timeline it is, that, you know, it's just a trailer kind of mashed together to kind of confuse you on the timeline, I guess, of the different settings and things that take place. But in my opinion, personally, I think, you know, if I had to theorize about it, this is the symbiote. It looks like the symbiote. I think, you know, the symbiote's basically going to alter whatever illness and, like, basically heal Harry Osborn, turn him into Venom. And then I think that, you know, of course his father's going to exploit that ability, exploit that power as well. And, you know, hopefully we can get some actual Green Goblin in this, man. But I'm excited for this, man. Definitely let me know in the comments, man, what you guys think. You know, what are your theories? What do you guys think about this particular, you know, theory situation? You know, to me, you know, it's just almost confirmed. But I, you know, would definitely want to hear what you guys think in the comments as well. But, you know, moving forward, though, we also have some information about the PS5 Slim. This, you know, this, take it with a grain of salt. You know, it is allegedly, I mean, technically, I guess it, you know, going by Sony's history, the PlayStation typically has a Slim and a Pro version associated with it. But, you know, apparently there may be a showcase next month for, you know, probably announcement with the PS5 Slim. We do know there's, you know, definitely most likely going to be a PS5 Pro as well. But according to an insider from Xbox Era, PlayStation will reportedly hold another gaming event next month to reveal the highly anticipated PS5 Slim. And, you know, it has his actual tweet here. But one thing I kind of wanted to point out with this too, man, because this is some new information to me at least. This is all alleged. Take it with a grain of salt, but the Slim console will reportedly feature a detachable disk drive. It is expected to cost $400, with the detachable disk drive being sold for an additional $100. I think, to me, man, this is just getting to the point to where it's starting to get gimmicky. And it's starting to get redundant as well too. I don't understand. I don't know any other company that would charge $100 for a detachable disk drive. Essentially what they're selling you is a PS5 digital version with an optional disk drive. And it's the equivalent to buying a normal PS5, which, granted, there's no actual specs on the PS5 Slim, nor anything being released for the PS5 Pro. I have seen some speculation about the PS5 Pro having 8K capability and stuff like that, but not that it's, 8K is kind of useless at this point because there's not enough content that utilizes that high of a frame rate, that high resolution, essentially. And so in my opinion, it's starting to get gimmicky. I've always had this feeling that Sony would eventually hit the ceiling with what they, are developing and stuff. I feel like PS5 is probably one of the most powerful consoles that they've made. And it's just, at this point, man, it's just with the announcement of Project Q, which that is essentially just a companion piece to the PS5 proper. It's just useless in my opinion. Some people may find use for it, like if you just want to use the Project Q to just lay in bed with your PS5 on. I guess that works as well, but it has no use for people that travel. It has no use for people that, leave their house in general, maybe to go hang out with friends or have a get together, anything like that. Or maybe you just want to, go hang out in the park and play games, man, get out the house. I've done that a few times. You have a handheld device. Sometimes it's nice to just sit outside, play some games in, some, 70-degree weather, 80-degree weather, I guess. I'm in the South. So 80-degree weather, I guess, with a nice cool breeze. Whatever suits your fancy, I would suppose. But to me, it's just getting gimmicky at this point. It doesn't make any sense to sell a product that essentially is what the PS5 is. The PS5 is pretty bulky, not necessarily bulky. It's tall. It is, it's not as slim as the PS4, I would say, if I was to put both of them side by side. The PS4, I think, to me, is a little bit slimmer, but yeah, if you're looking for like a slimmer console, I guess, but, essentially what the PS5 Slim would be is you purchasing the PS5 digital version that was initially released and announced. So in my opinion, it's just like, I'm not necessarily, worried about this in particular. I don't know who else would, be interested in buying the Slim. What really is going to make the deciding factor is, the PS5 Pro. Once we get more specs on the PS5 Pro, whether that comes with, increased solid state drive space, which the original PS5 has, external solid state drive that you can be able to, enable and attach as well. But, it's just, I don't necessarily, I think Sony has hit the ceiling with what they can do. And now it's just like we do incremental things to try to charge you money. And, we market it to where, we kind of sell it to you to make it seem like it's, more bang for your buck, I guess, or more engaging, I guess, or more necessarily, we're going to market it in a certain way to make you want to buy it and be like, oh, this is so much different than the original PS5. And it's just like, no, it's ridiculous. But I want to point out some more information too as well. Rumors also claim Sony is working on a PS5 Pro, which could be released next year. Just finished talking about that. In comparison, Xbox will not release a mid-gen console refresh as Microsoft already believes that the Xbox Series X is like a console refresh, which makes sense. I think that's also a smart move on Microsoft. No need to waste your resources basically trying to redevelop the same type of console and resell it to people. It's with the Microsoft, I mean with the Xbox Series X, I mean it is an elevated version over the Series S. And it's just like, it makes sense specifically with Xbox. As far as PlayStation goes, I mean, both the PlayStation Digital, the PS5 Digital, and the PS5, the regular one, both were the exact same console. Just one had an optical drive and one didn't. And so it's just like, I feel like Sony is just hitting the ceiling, and I guess it's trying to get into that culture of just like monetizing every aspect of everything. I kind of equate this PS5 Slim news to kind of like BMW and their like microtransactions on seat warmers. Like it's just there has to be a line drawn in the sand at some point in time when talking about these things. But yeah, it's just crazy. I'm probably looking more forward to the PS5 Pro. The only way the PS5 Pro may be enticing to me personally, in my opinion, is that it has to come with enhanced hardware. It has to come with enhanced hardware. It has to come with better cooling, better optimization, stuff like that. But I mean, we're getting that already we've got like a new firmware update on the PS5 recently that helps with performance. So I mean, yeah, Sony has to do something different. They have to do something a little different, But one thing I will say though, man, is that the new Spider-Man PS5 skin looks really good. I hope that they kind of sell just the plates as well without I mean, it's Sony. I know Sony's definitely going to try to force people into just buying the whole new console all over again, or if you're a person that already owns a PS5, you may want to trade yours in at GameStop and just get the new Spider-Man one. But the Spider-Man one looks really nice, man. Hopefully, I'm hoping they sell the plates separately eventually. That would be nice. So for people, if you don't necessarily want to go through the whole trouble of getting the limited edition, I guess, a PS5, the Spider-Man PS5, you can just buy the plates, swap the plates out, and put the Spider-Man plates on. I think that's like a good idea for Sony. You can actually make a little bit more money on the back end as well. You're just selling plates. You already went through the whole fiasco of trying to shut down, third-party companies from doing that in the first place. So you might as well take over that market as well, and help facilitate that for gamers. Like create. Like in my opinion, I think they should have did that with God of War too. So like with God of War Ragnarok, have like the specific plates. I think during that game's launch with the bundle, the console bundle, the only thing that was different was the controller. My opinion, I think they probably should have also just sold some plates too that had like the different designs on them. And every time you have like a major Sony exclusive or first party game that's releasing, just release some plates with it as well. Release the console and just release the plates separately as well too, man. So I don't know. I guess from a business standpoint, it could be counterproductive. But I mean, I guess, if you're just trying to sell consoles, that could also work. But I mean, I would do like a limited time run for the console where people like the only way you can get that is just like, I guess sell the console and then maybe 6 to 8 months, maybe a year down the line, or maybe like 6 to 8 months, you just sell just the plates and then people can just buy the plates. But yeah, this is just some funny information that I want to kind of bring up with this though, man. It kind of caught my attention. But moving on though, we have some information about Blizzard and Overwatch 2 and how the engagement and player investment is in decline while crossing his fingers for the Invasion update. And so this is actually not surprising to me, on the, it's been just a rise of free to play games that are just shutting down, and a lot of these games are, definitely it almost feels like sometimes these free to play games get developed and, they want to just come out and say, yeah, it's live service. We're going to make this thing last 10 years or whatever like that. It's typically like the baseline for live service games. And then they can't actually execute that plan properly. In my opinion, I think there's only been one game that I could think of that has actually survived the live service, and that's Rainbow Six Siege. But yeah, so they kind of described the entire, I guess, decline by saying, while engagement and player investment in Overwatch 2 declines sequentially in the quarter, the Overwatch team is looking forward to the August 10th release of Overwatch 2 Invasion, which, Overwatch 2 Invasion is the new, the new and improved story missions, not necessarily improved, but just, story missions. This will be the largest seasonal update yet, planned to include new PvE story missions, a new game mode, and a new hero progression system, as well as an additional hero. So kind of just to give a, recap on this. And I kind of want to connect these dots and these points though. So originally, the original story mode, the PvE hero mode, was completely different than the story missions that they have now. So I kind of want to bring some information to this and kind of connect and, give some backstory on it. But after canceling its ambitious PvE hero mode years into development, Overwatch 2 is now going to charge $15 for its upcoming story missions. This is where I think it just, took a turn for the worse. I've always said that, going free to play would be a detrimental decision to make for this game. This game was successful in its own right, even behind the $60 paywall. And in my opinion, you could have justified the $10 increase, sold Overwatch 2 for $70, and added the entire PvE hero mode. And that would have been a justifiable $10, and then just release, expansions or, map packs or something like that. I think they kind of ruined themselves. And I mean, it's Activision Blizzard, of course they're going to be greedy. Of course they're going to invoke their egregious microtransactions and monetization schemes. And, they're going to monetize you for every little bit of the game, every individual piece of the game. And this kind of goes back to even if games are free to play, it still doesn't make them I see a lot of people, they want to justify the fact that the game is free to play, so therefore it's okay for you to invoke these monetization schemes and these terrible microtransactions throughout the game, and lock characters behind a battle pass and pay for different skins and pay for different, not necessarily abilities, but pay for different characters essentially. And this kind of just emphasizes that. So they go on to say hero missions would have had replayable scenarios, randomized objectives, and an expansive talent tree system that let you modify your favorite hero abilities. That sounds way more engaging than the story missions that they've kind of laid out and point out now. So just the kind of an overall breakdown of what the PvE story missions are. $15 for Overwatch 2 Invasion bundle is required to play the story missions, as well as you get 1,000 Overwatch points to spend on the battle pass or shop cosmetics. Sounds like Call of Duty essentially. They basically just copy and paste whatever monetization or whatever patent they own, put it into all their multiplayer games essentially. Then the bundle will also include a Sojourn legendary skin, and will unlock her for PvP once you finish every story mission challenge. You won't be able to buy the story mission separate from the bundle, so you have to buy the bundle and able to be, you can't just buy them individually. You have to buy the entire bundle, so you have to spend the $15. Like I said, monetization schemes, instead of, you could allow people to just buy each story mission for maybe $2. Have it at a cheaper price, but nope, you have to buy that entire thing. Access to the story missions will be permanent. I guess that's one good thing, and they kind of took that from Halo Infinite. That's one good thing I would say that came out of Halo Infinite, is the fact of being able to buy battle pass, the battle passes or whatever, any kind of content that came within that battle pass is something you can go back to and purchase at a later date if you're not able to complete it within that time frame, which typically, from what I've seen with Activision Blizzard, as far as on the Call of Duty side of things, is that they typically give you 60 to 90 days to be able to complete a battle pass, which is, still isn't, with the amount of time that it takes to like complete a match and the amount of XP you get, you'd have to grind that out like continuously, like every day. You'll be able to buy story missions at any point in time, even when season 6 ends. If you want to play the story missions with the group, everyone has to own the invasion bundle. If there aren't enough players in the queue, you'll be grouped with bots. And man, this is kind of just like, for me, this is where it kind of just took a turn for the worse, man. It just went downhill from here. Or not even just went downhill from here. This is where it crashed and burned, essentially. It started going downhill when for me, when they announced that it was going to be free to play. Me personally, like I said, I'm not a big fan of free to play games. I'm not a big proponent of it. It's a model that came from mobile games. And all this does is just allow publishing companies to be able to invoke specific monetization schemes that they want to put in, as well as enforce them or reinforce them by touting that it's free to play. Free to play is just the disguise. Once you get past the disguise, that's when all of the actual, bullshit happens behind the scenes. But I just want to kind of read this last statement. This kind of like encompasses almost kind of like my thought process behind this entire scenario and situation. So 7 years and a free-to-play sequel later, those hopeful players have become the primary targets of Overwatch 2's live service monetization model, with paid heroes, paid battle passes, paid skins, and now paid co-op mode. Overwatch 2's bizarre-like user experience is seriously making me miss the days when playing Overwatch for free simply meant ignoring loot boxes. And I mean, that kind of just like says it all for me, man. It's Tyler Cope. Me and you had a kind of same sentiments on this. It's just, for me, Overwatch used to be like one of the top, here it was like a first of its kind, essentially. It's a hero shooter, but it did it so well. And it kind of brought a lot of people in. It created a great fan base. It created even outside of just the game itself, people had their own kind of comic books and designs, cosplay, everything like that. Like Overwatch took over. And became like a big thing when it first came out. And it's just, this is kind of like the byproduct, or not even this is the outcome of the result of what, greedy corporations like this is like the element of what happens when, greedy corporations make products like this, and then they put money first. They put money first over the consumer, the community, the things like that. It's how can we monetize and capitalize on the consumer first versus how can we make a good product first? Let's make a good product first, then that comes second, And for me personally, it just sucks to see Overwatch 2 just kind of go down this, I guess, just spiral out of control, essentially. And I mean, at this point, nobody's really playing a game like that anymore. I would think probably just for even like diehard Overwatch fans are probably the only ones that are still playing this game. But yeah, man, it just sucks. I wish I could have seen the PvE hero mode instead of the story missions, because the story missions are essentially they're not seasonal, so they don't happen every season. And on top of that, it's just, first of all, the story missions happen six seasons in. So it's not even like it was something that came out at the beginning. I think Overwatch 2 is maybe season 5 or season 6, in deep into the game itself. So, I mean, first of all, you're late to the party with the story missions. On top of that, the story missions aren't necessarily not necessarily grandiose, but they're not even long enough I would consider to be like story missions. Essentially, it's kind of like those small little seasonal type of events that happen, essentially, that's what they compare them to. They compare them to when the Halloween event comes around or when the Christmas event comes around, and stuff like that. And it's just, it's for me personally, it's not even worth $15, let alone playing the game at this point anymore. I think they just did a complete disservice. I do think Overwatch 2 was Overwatch 2 was skeptical at best, a failure at worst. From being announced in general, it was trying to be sold as something more, but it was actually just the same game repackaged into a free to play model. In my opinion, and it's just it's terrible to see what it's become. But man, hey, it's Activision Blizzard. That's what they're gonna do anyways. They're gonna not care what consumers think, and they just gonna bastardize and destroy games in general. I mean, you can look at Diablo Immortal, and then even now, like Diablo 4, yes, it released to highest game sales they've ever had, but with they're on the course of destroying that game because of the different patches and updates that they've done, the trying to close out farming areas for players in specific dungeons and stuff like that. And it's just like it's almost like they're definitely herding the sheep into spending money, and that's just the main problem with Activision for me personally. But I don't think anything's gonna change with Microsoft owning them now. But it's a good sign of things to come, I guess. Like you're definitely gonna get more of this. I guess if that's what you want, you could get more of this. Like me personally, this is one of the reasons why I'm just like stop playing Call of Duty. I'm not playing Call of Duty anymore. There's so many other first person shooters that are coming out that are definitely definitely worth the time. And I think too, like XDefiant's like a good surprise, I guess. I'll still have to wait to see how that game plays out itself on full release. But moving on, we have some great news. Speaking of microtransactions and everything like that, Baldur's Gate 3 is being praised by fans, and man, look what happens when you make a good product. Look what happens when you put monetization second and the consumer first. So Baldur's Gate 3 offline play and no microtransactions praised by fans. Thank God Larian Studios exists. Thank God we still have old school kind of developers that make great, amazing, expansive games and build upon worlds. They don't destroy source material, any of that. It's just they take what was given to them, and they extrapolate and they emphasize and they like escalate that entire medium and make it awesome. And that's what I like about Larian Studios, man. But so apparently, well, not even apparently, I kind of already knew this too. So they kind of have like a meme here posted by Captain Addy, but I guess on their FAQ they have some questions and answers. And they say, yes, you can play the game offline. However, certain features such as multiplayer modes or online events may require internet connection. And the other question is, are there any in-game purchases? And not to my surprise, at least, because I like Larian Studios, so I tend to keep up with them a lot. No, there are no in-game purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional purchases. Enjoy the game to its fullest without any additional costs or microtransactions. Thank God. Thank God we still have great game development studios. And man, like this just needs to be highlighted. Like when development studios do awesome stuff like this, it needs to be praised. It needs to have a light shined on it. It needs to have people behind it, celebrating it, clapping everything, pat on the back, whatever you need to do for it, because this is what gaming is about. So they kind of go into with like a few quotes from Redditors and stuff, but I'll just kind of go over some of these quotes. God, the fact that being able to play offline is exciting is so sad. That is very much true. Like the bar is so low today that, we get excited about playing games that offer offline play. It's like we don't have to be tethered and tailored to somebody's server, and then, or somebody's like inconsistent server that, for instance, like Gran Turismo 7 was a good example of that, making a single player game online only. And servers went down and people couldn't play for 7 days straight, I think, or I think it was a little bit longer than that. Cries of Diablo 4. That's another by a Noctier. And then the last one says, Larian feels like a developer from 15 years ago in the best way possible. Tragically, pointed out by Fetus Goes Yeetus. That's actually a pretty dope one. But yeah, man, like it's just awesome to see, man. It's great to see this. One thing I want to highlight too that stealth optional kind of provided in this article is that the tide has turned against gaming's live service trend as of late. In this year alone, a lot of games with live service elements either bombed or have been taken offline. While certain multiplayer shooters will always be popular, we're getting to a point where only the good ones are staying. And yes, because gamers like good games, you know, like gamers want to play good games. Gamers like good games. Gamers appreciate good games. Like that's just what this is about. You know, people don't want, you know, the economy is already terrible already as it is. You know, people don't need additional corporations and people, you know, pushing corporatist ideology to continuously, you know, hamper down on the monetization and trying to monetize, you know, customers and consumers. It gets ridiculous at this point. So, and I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to offer a lot of content, man, a lot of content. And, you know, I'm definitely, I already have I already have it in early access as well, but I kind of want to see if I can drop some more money on this for Larian Studios to get like the deluxe edition, any kind of way that I could possibly support Larian Studios additionally. I definitely want to find out with Baldur's Gate 3. You know, I know they have like a bunch of different merch, statues and stuff like that, but I kind of want to get some, you know, some additional items from them specifically that goes directly to them. But man, yo, thank you, Larian Studios, man. Baldur's Gate is amazing. I, you know, can't wait to play the full game. I'm excited for it. But moving on though, we have some more information. And speaking of, you know, free-to-play games getting shut down, man, we got another one. Bandai Namco cans Gundam Evolution just a year after launch, apologizes to players. So they go on to say Bandai Namco said the free-to-play 6v6 shooter will end on November 29, 2023, making it unplayable. Gundam Evolution launched on PC in September 2022, then on console in November last year. And they kind of, you know, have a little small excerpt of what the developer said by making the announcement. They go on to say that we wanted to create a title that brought FPS fans and Gundam fans together. We challenged ourselves to create an authentic Gundam FPS game that could be played globally. Unfortunately, we have determined that it is no longer possible for us to provide a service that satisfies our players. And it's just like, yo, man, like, this is the problem with free-to-play shooters, bro. It's like, if your free-to-play shooter isn't, you know, the most popular thing out there and stuff like that, like, you're not going to get, you know, people to basically spend money on it and things like that. You're not going to survive. And that's the thing, is like, that's one of the other downfalls with free-to-play, is that typically developers are banking on popularity when making this. And I think that's, you know, typically how it goes, I guess, really. But, you know, with certain developers, they have a niche that they kind of cater to. And they know that the fan base within that niche is very dedicated. And so they kind of have that to fall back on. But if you do a free to play game, you're literally banking on popularity alone and hoping that you have more than just your fan base spending money on the game. And you know, me personally, I haven't played the Gundam Evolution. I have seen other people play it before. It didn't look enticing to me. It did not look you know, enjoyable in my opinion. It looked very arcadey. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Gundam is definitely a popular anime series, popular manga as well. But it's like, you know, how many people are willing to play the game though, you know, and that's the issue there. And it was kind of, you know, Gundam Evolution was kind of basically Gundam Call of Duty, essentially. You know, Gundam Call of Duty with, you know, a little bit of hero shooter mixed in. But, you know, sad to say, man, you know, we got another one bites the dust. You know, another free to play shooter that's just on its way out the door, man. And it's just, I'm hoping that this is the end of live service. I'm hoping that this free to play model thing can kind of just like die off. You know, I know we still have a few more games that are coming out that are free to play. You know, like Marathon. It's definitely, that's more of like an extraction shooter that's made by Bungie. We also do know that Sony's investing heavily into live service and stuff like that, which, you know, I think is going to bite them in the butt later on. I still think they need to focus more on their first party studios, as well as they have, you know, they also have another issue at hand with Microsoft owning Activision Blizzard and them making Call of Duty, just signing a contract with Microsoft for 10 years to bring Call of Duty to PlayStation. And it's like, for the next 10 years, in my opinion, I think you need to start prepping for, you know, if Microsoft chooses not to renew that license, if they just choose to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox, you need to start resurrecting some of your older first-person shooter or first-person, the older FPS titles, or just shooter titles in general, you know, SOCOM, Killzone, things like that, and start having teams dedicated to making that, you know, and have them spend 10 years on that, you know, and have that go on in the background, you know what I'm saying, and have a new competitor to the entire scene, and, you know, make that, you know, exclusive to PlayStation and PC, you know. And I mean, that's kind of like where I'm coming from with it. If because Killzone, in my opinion, I know a lot of people may not think this, but in my personal opinion, I think Killzone does have a good chance of competing with Call of Duty because of where Call of Duty is now and how it's kind of like on the down trend. Same thing with Battlefield. You know, Battlefield is basically almost out the door. You know, they have to completely reboot that series now because of 2042 was so terrible. But so yeah, just sucks, man. Another free to play, you know, shooter out the door, man. And it's just that free to play live service model is just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. You know, and a lot of the times too, man, it's just you're exerting a lot of resources for not a high enough payout in the end. Like if you're not Fortnite, you know, if you're not Apex Legends, if you're not these games that kind of got, you know, that initial push, that kind of got that initial, you know, popularity and stuff, man, it's not, in my opinion, a viable business decision to constantly pursue free-to-play live service titles. But that's just my opinion. But moving on, though, we have some funny news. I kind of wanted to bring this up. I thought this was kind of funny. But so Alan Wake 2 dev hoping Red Dead Remaster does not release in October. Man, if Broketober wasn't a term for you, Broketober should definitely be a term now, because this is funny, man. So I kind of go on to say, so recent rumors have suggested that Red Dead Redemption Remaster is currently in development, with the game expected to be announced soon. It could join the growing list of anticipated games coming in October. So, you know, and just to give you a small list of what's supposed to come in October: Spider-Man 2, Forza Motorsport, and Assassin's Creed Mirage, as well as Alan Wake 2. All of those games are, you know, going to be games that people are going to jump into. Me personally, I'm definitely buying Spider-Man 2. I'm definitely buying Forza Motorsport, and I'm definitely buying Alan Wake 2. So, you know, I'm definitely going Broketober with that. But, you know, it's fun. This is kind of funny, because one of the devs from Alan Wake 2's development from Remedy Entertainment just came out and said, I swear to God, if the rumor Red Dead Remastered comes out on October 17th, don't you do it, Rockstar Games, please. And, you know, and it's just like, it's kind of funny because we all know what happens when Rockstar releases their games, and it's like it clears out the entire schedule of everybody. Everybody then starts to like delay their games and push it away, because who wants to compete with, you know, Red Dead? And it's like, you know, it's kind of funny to me personally, but you know, in my opinion, I don't think Red Dead Redemption should get a remaster per se. I think Red Dead Redemption should kind of go the route of The Last of Us Part 1, kind of remake that entire game from ground up, which I'm hoping I think just this Red Dead Redemption remaster is just a remaster with enhanced graphics, you know. And I mean, Red Dead Redemption is an awesome game in general, but I think they should give it a part one kind of, you know, I guess like rebuild, like build it from the ground up, you know, keep the same story, stuff like that, and then release it as like a bundle, I guess, with, or just release it on its own. But I would release it as like a bundle with Red Dead Redemption 2. Re-release Red Dead Redemption 2, you know, and have it, you know, attached to Red Dead Redemption 2 as a remake, you know, and that way you get to play both games, you know, and essentially you could play Red Dead Redemption 2 first, because I'm pretty sure Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. It takes the events that take place in that game happen before Red Dead Redemption. So, I mean, this was kind of funny, though. I kind of want to bring this up, man. It's just like, yo, like nobody wants to kind of like compete with Rockstar Games in general. You know, those are definitely some heavyweights, some juggernauts, you know, moving forward with that. But, yo, I thought this was kind of funny. It was like, no, bro, don't release this at all, man. Like, I will delay my shit. I promise you I will delay my shit if you do this. But, so, yeah, I thought that was funny. But moving on, though. I want to bring up some information, man. Mortal Kombat 1 just released their new MK pack, the combat pack. And yo, a lot of that stuff that was hinted at earlier was, you know, that was rumored, I guess, has been confirmed. This is probably, man, yo, in my opinion, I think this is probably one of the best combat packs I've seen out of Mortal Kombat, man. So you're getting Homelander. You're getting Peacemaker, Omni-Man, Takeda, Ermac, and Quan Chi. Yo, I'm excited for this. You know, I know a lot of people are definitely going to pit Homelander against Omni-Man. And that's kind of like what everybody wants to see. If you would ask me, in my opinion, I think I would definitely choose Omni-Man over Homelander. But I am curious though, man. I think Omni-Man has more experience with combat versus the only reason why I say Omni-Man too is because in both of their respective universes, Omni-Man has a lot more experience with combating with combat versus Homelander, in my opinion. Homelander, I feels like, has lived a privileged life, has been coddled, protected, stuff like that. Omni-Man is definitely the villain in disguise. And that's why I just kind of think that Omni-Man would definitely beat Homelander if you would have put them off together. But yo, this is still exciting news, man. I mean, also too, man, it's nice to just see, you know, Ermac and Takeda back in there. I like Quan Chi too, but Ermac and Takeda is also a nice bonus. Peacemaker, I'm definitely, you know, that helmet is definitely going to be a great component. I want to see that in action as well. I feel like there's going to be some really dope fatalities with that helmet for Peacemaker though. But they're using the likeness of, you know, Tony Starr and John Cena though. So I'm hoping they also use their voices as well. Don't know if they'll use the J.K. Simmons for Omni-Man, but it is pretty nice. I mean, that would be pretty dope too if they could get J.K. Simmons in there. This would be two I guess appearances by J.K. Simmons in video games, because J.K. Simmons is also in he also does a voice in Baldur's Gate 3, and it'd be dope to have him play Omni-Man, play as, you know, respective character Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat. So I think that'd also be dope too. But yeah, I mean, this is exciting news for me personally. But also wanted to kind of add too, so with the combat pack, you're also going to get some cameo fighters, Tremor, Chameleon, Movado, Johnny Cage, and Farah. I'm not too familiar with Farah, but the rest of those are nice though, man. Man, I'm just so excited for Mortal Kombat 1, man. I'm like the new trailer with Mei Li and stuff like that. I think we got also some I think we also got like a new character. I forgot what her name is, but she uses like she also uses kind of like a staff, I guess, as well. I guess kind of not as, I don't know, she's a replacement for Jade, I guess. I can't remember her name for nothing, but her executions or her fatalities look really dope too as well. But yep, man, this is it for today, man. Let me know in the comments, guys, you know, what do you think about, the Spider-Man 2, theory that I had earlier? What do you think about the combat pack? What do you think about, just the monetization, of free to play games and how they're dying out and, stuff like that? Let me know in the comments about, whether or not, what about the, Overwatch 2 player decline, the engagement decline that's going on with that and stuff like that. I want to hear from you guys in the comments, man. I want to, I want to know your thoughts. I like the engagement going, like going back and forth with you guys in the comments and stuff like that. It's really, it helps keep me sharp on my toes, keep me on my toes a lot of the times. And I learned some stuff about you guys too as well. So, let me know in the comments, man, about all the stuff we talked about today. If you enjoyed the video today, make sure you like the video, if you, enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. And also, one additional thing, if you don't want to miss a video, hit that bell so you never miss a video. That's the point in the bell being there. Thank you guys for tuning in this week, man. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.